I don't really want to accept it posthumously because I'm still here, but I wish Susan were here because she would just think this was the coolest thing, and it would really touch her. I know that because, as you mentioned, she wasn't really recognized for what she did while she was here doing all of it, and that was really tough for her. I think that we've come a long way in our society. I think we have a long way to go in recognizing women's accomplishments and allowing women to get out of this box that our culture puts us in. We do it to ourselves. We do it to each other. We let men do it to us. The culture does it, and we have to all kind of work to get out of it. And Susan did, it's ironic, she did it in a really amazing way, but she did it in a really kind of interesting way. She did a lot of things. She was in so many television shows and episodes and so many series. She was in a lot of movies. And when I was growing up, I would think, oh, Susan, who is my aunt, who I loved a lot, and apparently I do things and talk a certain way and move my hands in a way that reminded everybody in my family of her, and they would all stop suddenly when I was a little girl and go, oh, she's just like Susan. Or I would say something at Thanksgiving dinner, and everybody would be quiet, and they would look at each other and say, she's just like Susan. And Susan was out in Los Angeles. We were back in the East Coast. So I didn't get to see her much when I was a little girl. And then growing up, I got to be very close to her and would come down to Los Angeles and visit her. And she was just a wonderful support, and since I don't have this written down, I can't remember exactly where it was going. But, boxes. So here, she did this really interesting thing. She was in the movies with people like Elizabeth Taylor and amazing stars, and I always just thought, oh, that's the film that Elizabeth is in, but it's Susan's film. She would do all these things, and the studio wanted her to be a certain way and act in certain roles and sign contracts, and that wasn't where she wanted to go. She wanted to do more with her career. She wanted to direct at a time when women weren't directing. So instead of going the sure route and having a career where she could have really been somebody famous and people would have known about her, she said, no, I'm not going to do that. And she turned her back on it and go another way. And she did this so many times in her life because she knew where she wanted to go. And yet everywhere she wanted to go, there was this tight box wrapped around it that said women can't do this. But she did it anyway, and she kept fighting for it. And she wrote, and she directed, and she decided she wanted to fly airplanes and single-engine planes across the Atlantic. And by herself, when everybody was saying, you can't do that, first of all, because you're a woman, and then, okay, well, now you've learned how to fly, and maybe you can do it, but you can't do that because the weather's not right or something. She just went ahead and did it anyway. And for me, as her niece growing up, to see a woman who's saying no to these boxes was really good for me, because I was able to say, I want to be a writer. And everyone in my family was saying, oh, well, you really shouldn't do that. And she said, great. And I said, and I fell in love with a boy, and he's a rock and roll musician. And everyone in my family was going, no. And she was saying, great, go do it. And everything that I wanted to do that was what I wanted to do, she was saying, great. And I had this woman in my life that I could look to that was doing that already. And she's the thing that I love about this award, and that I think she would love so much, is at the time, the people who were recognizing it pretty much were just her family. And she did have some fans, obviously, and the media would recognize it a little bit, but not very much. But this is recognizing it. And you guys are so awesome to come here, and I know that it really would have meant a lot to her to know that, and I hope she does know that she hasn't been forgotten. I really want to thank the Women's International Film and Television Showcase for honoring her for this. I want to thank Elspeth for including her and recognizing this. It means so much to me that she hasn't been forgotten. To George Pappy, who worked so hard to put this film together, and he even tattooed her as the green girl from Star Trek. That's one of the roles that she did. It's on his leg, and it's like, oh, my aunt is there. So she's not going to be forgotten from him for a long time. To Amy for putting together all those pieces. I don't know how you did that, because there was so much that you had to work with. It's just amazing. And to Riley Rose for making this and getting it done. It's actually out, and you guys can see it, and she won't be forgotten. And it means a lot to me. It means a lot to our family, and I hope that she can inspire a lot of other women to just say, no matter what these boxes are that we're put in, we are going to get out of it ourselves. We're going to go, and maybe it's even a tighter box that we're going in, but we're going to still keep chipping away. So thank you very much.